And welcome to the third hour of American Agenda. I'm Heather Childers along with Bob Sellers, and we're now joined by our guest co-host for this afternoon.
Yes, the outspoken Tony Katz. Yes, Tony, you are outspoken. That's actually in your title that we put into the script here. Decorated former Secret Service agent and small business owner, Dr. Melanie Burkholder, plus attorney and Democrat strategist Kelly Hyman. Thank you all for joining us. Now, President Biden meeting with 10 Senate Republicans last night to discuss details in the COVID relief package. Republicans called the negotiations productive, but today, President Biden doesn't seem any closer to reaching a deal. This comes as Democrats are signaling that they want to pass the package without any Republican support. Let's discuss this with our panel. You know, Tony, one of the things I remember was passed without any opposing party support. Obamacare, if that rings a bell. And I'm not sure that's a good thing. Maybe should they be talking across the aisle a little bit?
Well, what's the point? They can do this at midnight like they did with Obamacare. They can do this at 2:30 in the afternoon, utilizing budget reconciliation and getting it passed. I don't mind that Republicans went to go talk, these 10 Republicans that did. They've got this $600 billion plan that would put $1,000 to every American. That would also help with some of the other issues that are affecting business owners. But again, the story here is that the Democratic Party has made a bet that they can get this through without Republicans. They can show they care more than Republicans, and deficits, who cares about those things? That's the bet that they're making, that they can do more to show that they care more and not care about debt in the slightest. They may very well win that bet.
Yeah, Dr. Burkholder, this strikes me that it's an enormous amount of money. I mean, Mitt Romney had said, you know, we just spent $900 billion. And is there any limit to what they're willing to spend?
I don't think so, Bob. Until the American people run out of money in their pockets, they're going to keep spending it for us. But I would say this. It's very rich of Biden to call for unity and then to have on the table. Actually, if you don't agree with me, then we're not going to do any deal. So it's not really working in our favor at this point. And finally, I would say the Chinese folks love that we're printing money hand over foot because we are devaluing our dollar at a rate that makes them that they could potentially be the superpower and earlier than we think. Right. So it's very interesting to see what's happening right now, but it's very disingenuous of anyone to say that this is working together.
Yeah, Kelly, what's your take on this? Because it is a lot of money, and we know some people need the money, but even that is not targeted all that much.
Well, I think, you know, people are struggling personally, professionally, financially, and we need to help the American people. We also, like Tony, small businesses, they need our help as well. And so I think it was great that Biden and the Republicans got together and discussed it. I mean, it was a 2-hour meeting. No one thought that anything was going to be resolved right then and there. But it's time for us to come together and work together, whether you're Republican or Democrat, and this should be a bipartisan thing where we're helping the American people, and they need our help right now.
Well, okay, I'll give you that. But then to come together, does that mean that they should listen to what the Republicans are saying more in this case?
I think that absolutely they should listen to the Republicans. And, you know, there's also an option of passing a bill, a bipartisan bill. And then if additional money is needed or different things are go back to the table and have more negotiations and discussions to do that. But the American people need help right now, and we need to make sure that they get it.
Yeah. Heather, what's your take on
the American people? The argument's not the American people needing help, though. The argument is, what does that help look like? Deciding on a $15 an hour minimum wage isn't part of the help. We've spent $900 billion. This is another $600 billion. When does the spending stop? Because the bill becomes due on children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, et cetera. We need to at least be looking at those things. And right now, the Democratic Party doesn't seem to look at those things at all. And I think that if we're going to have the conversation honestly, which I'm glad we're having, at least here, we have to think about all of it, not just they need help. That's the whole adage of we have to do something. This is something. Let's do it. That's not enough.
Yeah, Heather.
Right.
Kelly, you were asking why that $15 minimum wage will not work. I mean, it won't work because it's going to take away jobs and it's going to impact those businesses and those people who are struggling to keep their businesses afloat. I mean, there was an estimate, I think it was the Congressional Budget Office, that said that it would cost $3 million. This on top of some of the executive orders that President Biden has already put into place that has cost upwards of 60,000 jobs, if you take into account the Keystone Pipeline and all of those jobs associated with it. Both of these plans apparently.
Restaurant owners. Yeah,
What?
I mean, Heather, the burden on restaurant owners, all of the new mandates that are coming down that they're having to comply with due to COVID, it adds expense. I mean, we're going to be paying $40 for a single pizza here pretty soon, and it's just not sustainable to increase the minimum wage to $15 and expects the restaurateurs to be able to absorb that. It passes on to us, the consumer, and it's just not right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kelly, it strikes a lot of people as a Democratic wish list that's they're trying to pass at the most inopportune time when you're trying to get business back on track.
Well, I would disagree with you. I mean, I think that people are struggling to put food on their table, and I think it's going to help the American people with having this raise. And I also think it's going to help the businesses as well. And so I would disagree on that, and I think that the minimum wage should be increased.
Okay. Tony, I know you like to talk about the debt as being something our kids and our grandkids. I think we're going to, something people haven't kept track of much. The interest rates are starting to go up now. Once we get our economy back on track, and let's hope that is what happens, we may see inflation as a result of the devaluing of the dollar because of the huge debt.
Look, it's possible. It's always possible. And we should be clear that President Trump engaged a lot of policies I agree with, but the spending is not something I agreed with. And the same thing with Barack Obama, and the same thing with George Bush, and the same thing with Bill Clinton. We have been discussing spending for a great number of years, and we've done absolutely nothing about it. It's pretty horrifying, if you ask me. Are we heading towards an inflationary cycle? Man, economists can answer that question much better than I can. But I know that the Fed very much seems that they're going to try to keep interest rates at that zero, at that as low as possible, to try and fend that off for the life of them, because they don't want a post-COVID economy going along with an inflationary economy. But a $15 an hour minimum wage is not the answer. It's also counterintuitive to economics. It's the idea of the Keynesian model that we just put more spending in and we'll get a result. Hayek's right, Keynes is wrong, and the reality is in the reality.
Yeah, and by the way, the people we have to borrow that money from, China enters that mix, unfortunately. That happens as well. So, folks, stand by. As the Republican Party recovers from its losses in the past election, Senate GOP leader Mitch McConnell is actually taking a rare step of inserting himself into a feud going on in the House. A senator taking issue in the House. McConnell has piped up support for Congresswoman Liz Cheney, who's been taking heat from Trump loyalists after she voted for his impeachment. The move has puzzled a lot of folks. Our Kelly even tweeted, I don't know, but maybe Mitch McConnell should stay the heck out of it. We'll talk more about these things coming up after the break.